A lot of our fantasy rosters are limping into week 5. We got a lot of injuries. We got bye weeks. We're hurting at running back. And now we're looking at Chuba Hubbard likely out this week. And everybody's wondering what to do with Rico Dowdle. We did a video on him Saturday night as I kept getting questions and recommendations and inquiries to do a video on him because a lot of people were stashing him due to Chuba Hubbard coming into this game banged up. And they're right to do so because now he's banged up even more going into week 5. Odds are likely that he's going to be out this week. And now everybody's running to the waiver wire to pick up Rico Dowdle. Today, we're going to deep dive him again. But we also got to deep dive the matchups now coming up this week and next week. Just in case he's playing and being the starter more than just 1 week for the Carolina Panthers. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're doing deep dives every day like this on as many players as possible. So when you're looking to pick up a guy, start a guy, trade happens, injury, whatever, news, you know what to do with those players. You at least got the advanced analytics. You got the good, the bad, the ugly of the situation. So you take and you do and you react to what resonates with you. On top of that, we go deep on the waiver wire every single day throughout the week, and we help you set your lineups with rankings and covering every single game throughout the season. Click that button. Stop missing out. But starting off looking at this, Chuba Hubbard has been dealing with a calf injury, is likely going to miss Sunday's game against the Dolphins, which is a very interesting matchup, which we're going to touch base on here later in the video. But this brings up Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle, last couple games, 40% snap share, 39% snap share, had a 34% snap share week 1. So he's getting some work. Not a lot because it's been the Chuba show. 10 carries in week 3, 9 in week 4. So even with Chuba coming in banged up, Chuba had a show. He's still got the workload and opportunities. And when you're looking at Rico Dowdle, he can be productive. He's shown that with Dallas behind a subpar offensive line. He can be productive. He can be safe. He can be steady. He can hold it down for an NFL team. You're not going to confuse him for Saquon, Bijan, or any of those top-tier running backs. But for an NFL team, stepping in to handle the workload for half a season, a handful of games, maybe a full season to get you by, he can do that. He can be good at that. 11.2 PPR fantasy points per game, including last week from week 1 of 2024 to now. That's solid considering what he is, a UDFA running back who had to climb up the depth chart at Dallas, got some opportunities, he's got good vision, some wiggle to him, and just good between the tackles. Just a stout, steady running back prospect. Has a 1,000-yard season to his name. That's hard to do. Like, we shake a stick at that sometimes, but that is also hard to do. 4.6 yards per carry behind that Dallas offensive line as well. And then you're looking at what he did last year, efficiency-wise, 17th true yards per carry, 27th yards per touch. Evaded tackles 18th. He's explosive, 28th among running backs. Now, not top-end numbers, but for what he is, for a backup running back stepping in, those are solid numbers. Yards created, 17th. Yards created per touch, 30th. He was 15th in carries. Not the greatest, but for what he is, a backup stepping up, a guy that had to carry a load for the Cowboys behind a subpar offensive line, it's fine. Again, we're not expecting Bijan. We're not expecting Saquon. We're not even expecting Kenneth Walker. We're just expecting to get to the fairway, and we're hoping to get some production out of him. You're looking at the running backs here. Chuba's likely out. We're going to talk about Trevor Etienne. Jonathan Brooks on the mend right now. They brought up DJ Dallas. DJ Dallas, sneaky, explosive running back. Deeper leagues, probably 14-plus, 16-plus leagues. Those are teams. I would be looking at him as a stash option just in case things break a little bit more, but I don't think it's necessary either. That being said, Rico Dowdle is in line to get more work. Chuba Hubbard, like I said, the Chuba show, 16 points per game since week 1 of last year. 9 points in each of the last 2 games. 9.6, 9.9, 2 RB1 weeks on the season. When you look at that, though, that's heavily due to the passing game, them having to play catch-up in those matchups. But still, his work in the passing game is rather solid. Trevor Etienne, he's the rookie. They drafted him in the 4th round. You got some okay size adjusted athleticism. His brother's Travis Etienne. I hope you know that. But 2,000 rushing yards between Florida and Georgia. Played at 2 top-tier premier programs. Was able to get on the field with both of them. Averaged 3.8 yards after contact per attempt in the SEC with 2 different programs. 17 runs of 10-plus yards or more, but that's with him sharing the backfield. 24 the year prior with Florida. He has good pedigree coming out of high school. He has good pedigree with 2 big top-tier collegiate programs. Able to get on the field with them. The converse of that is he's not a top-end prospect. He's not a prospect that when you see coming out for the draft that you see as a running back prospect that's going to lead a draft class. But he has some parameters in his game that could lend to the notion that he could help a backfield. Like he caught 32 balls last year with Georgia, 609 yards after the previous year being at Florida. Like he was able to transition to the offense. He was able to be productive at Florida for what Florida is. He was able to muster some productivity, 6.1 yards per carry as a freshman. Like he was a big-time recruit coming out of high school. He just didn't really live up to that. Big-time 4-star. But you got some goods to his game. With the speed, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He could help you out in a bind. And you're looking at what these running backs have been doing this year. 28 carries for Rico Dowdle, averaging 3 yards per carry. That could affect him. You see Trevor Etienne averaging 4.6 yards per carry on 8 carries. One, that's a small sample size. He also has a muffed kick return against Atlanta. And then on top of that, he had a fumble or 2 in preseason. That's something to pay attention to. He has made some mistakes. Rico Dowdle, a 27% rush share, which is pretty solid for a backup running back considering you got Chuba Hubbard. They like to use 2 running backs. That's one thing about this coaching staff. That's one thing we noted going into last year. But Miles Sanders was so bad, but they kept talking about how they wanted to use Miles Sanders. They just couldn't last year. That's why they made sure they got Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle does have a few similarities to Chuba Hubbard, like just a dependable running back that you can use in the passing game. And his snap share here is at 36%. His opportunity share is higher than average for a backup running back at 14%. That lends the notion that he's going to get a lot of work, a lot of opportunities. It's higher than most of the handcuff running backs that we're stashing. Usually they're around that 10% range. Go back to my handcuff running back video I dropped yesterday. That's the one with Next Bucky in the thumbnail. And you keep watching me talk running back after running back. Barely any of those guys are this high. I don't think any of them were 14 or higher. I think the highest was 12%. I think that was Tyler Algier. Rico Dowdle is getting work as a backup. And he's not getting a lot of targets. He's got 6 targets here. But comparable to Chuba, he's running a route on 44% of the snaps where Chuba's running on 52%. And that makes sense because Chuba's going to be out there for the money work. You're going to have your guy out there. Rico is the 1B, 1C backup here that's also getting some opportunity. He's running 10.75 routes per game. That could kick up to around 20. I don't think everything's going to be 1-for-1 with Chuba. I don't think that. But Chuba's running a 60% route participation rate. He might be around there. Trevor Etienne might get some work, and he might be explosive. I would not be surprised if the game script gets slow or nasty and Trevor Etienne comes in and just has that big play, that big moment. I think he will get probably about a 10% opportunity share in this matchup. Like, I don't expect him to be 1-for-1 with Rico either. I think he gets about 10% opportunity share. I think they're going to allow him to get the opportunity to figure it out. He's had some mistakes preseason, a little bit this year, but they ain't crazy bad mistakes as well. They're using these running backs in the slot. They don't care which one it is. And he's probably going to run a route on about 40 to 50% of his snaps as well. Is how this offense works. Now you're looking at this week's matchup. You got a 45.5 over-under. Vegas has that listed. That's like right down the middle. Around 44 to 45-ish range is about right down the middle of the over-unders. Low range is 40, 39, 38 or lower. High is like 48, 49, 50 plus. You're like right down the middle-ish. And usually, they're right down the middle-ish if the matchup's so-so, or if they can't predict the matchup and it could break either way. Now, when you look at these two teams, you look at the Dolphins, you look at week 1 and how they got road dogged. You look at the Panthers. They got 3 losses on the season. They've been getting road dogged. This could be a matchup that could swing either way. This could be a matchup that could be football follies, if you remember those VHS cassettes. This could be a matchup that could be, this could be a matchup that's glorious. That's what that says. That's what that says. So you're like, Bruce, you're wishy-washy on the matchup again. Yes and no. I think we have a probability of some very strange but good movement. I think so. When I look at this matchup, I would not be surprised if something strange happens in this matchup. So allowing fantasy points to running backs, Dolphins are a little bit above league average. They'll either bend or break. They barely broke the Cook. They bent to everybody else. Steve-O almost broke out against them. And you're just looking at that. On top of that, I want to look at what the quarterbacks are doing against them, because Bryce Young has been very volatile this season, and they're allowing 35.4% above league average in their last 3 games, and on the year 40.6% above league average on the season. Fantasy points to quarterbacks. This should be an advantageous situation here for the passing game. So this should allow them to keep the chains moving. This should be a decent matchup for them, as long as Bryce Young doesn't get volatile. And that's the thing. He could, but the trend the last couple seasons, this year and last year, was him starting off a little rough and just starting to figure it out. That seems like the trend. That could be coaching staff. That could be him too. That could be team as well. Last year, opened up against Saints. They got road dogged. Looked bad. Remember, he got pulled. Now you're looking at this. This is an advantageous matchup, and it could be back and forth because the Panthers are the Panthers, and they've been in weird game scripts as well. And you're looking at this. Both teams, 3 losses. Both teams will allow points. And you're looking at what the running backs have done as we're trying to look for bigger clues. Panthers next to opponents, 26th Dolphins and 23rd Cowboys in rushing success rate. As we deep dive into this, one thing you can definitely say, it's a very small sample of 4 games. They've only allowed 1 100-yard rusher. Only 1 touchdown has been scored by running backs, per this chart. They are allowing a little bit in the passing game every game, with the highest 6 receptions versus 5 receptions. That's Breece Hall and Steve-O. You're also seeing these game scripts get out of hand, so it kind of favors that. Jonathan Taylor only got 71 rushing yards on him, but DJ Giddens got 41. So they are allowing points on the ground. That is a huge indicator. That's DJ Giddens' first ever NFL game as a backup, a 5th rounder, but a good 5th rounder. A 5th rounder that would have been drafted a lot higher in other draft classes. If you're looking at Hendo only got you 10 yards on 3 carries. You're looking at Ty Johnson, 13 yards. You're looking at Braylon Allen, got you 26, had to come out. Breece Hall got 81. Wasn't too crazy, got it in a passing game. Like, considering game script wise in some of these matchups, really depends on game script when it comes to the volume. But you can definitely see them open up to some of these running backs. So there's some good probability here for the run game for Carolina. You're also wanting to look at what they're doing at wide receiver. So the only player to get 100 yards on them is James Cook. James Cook's the only player. So they're really, they're getting gashed, but they're getting gashed a little bit everywhere. And what we saw in preseason and the training camp joint practices is them giving up the deep ball and getting smashed on that. Michael Pittman came out right away. That was just a huge clue that what we saw in the joint practices. They broke the 2 wide receivers. So why we're looking at this is because Bryce Young can be very volatile. And the fact that we're seeing them break the 2 wide receivers, bend to another, there's good probability that we can push it to T-Mac, get it downfield, and be solid this week. Because they have been gashed by the deep ball. Not just in games, training camp, joint practices. we were seeing that. It was looking bad. The chain should keep moving. We should be in good position for these running backs. I had Chuba Hubbard ranked 19th. And it was a conservative ranking because we knew about the injury. It was earlier in the week. We ranked these on Wednesday. If I had to put Rico in the spot, a little bit lower than this, but not much. RB2 range, not 100% safe to start, but okay as your RB2, and hopefully he gets you to the fairway and a little bit more. I think odds are sitting pretty that we do get to the fairway and a little bit more. So you need him because you need a starting running back. RB2 flex-ish. Find a start. Risk is there. Fairway-ish range, that 10 to 12 range is very probable. Odds of 20 plus, you would need to score multiple touchdowns. How we get there, we looked at the passing game and the passing defenses here. We could get there if T-Mac hits a deep ball city, and now we're in the red zone. We pounded out with Dowdle. There's also a chance Trevor Etienne is a thorn in our side. That Trevor Etienne could be a stash play down the road. That's something to pay attention to. I would not stash him above any of the other stashes that I've been talking about, really. Go to yesterday's video. I think if you're putting him and looking at him as a stash option, I wouldn't have him in the top 10, but he is an option just in case. If you're deep enough to handle it, this is a volatile matchup, like I've been saying. Like, I can see this matchup going everywhere. Talked about the wide receivers. And the reason why this matchup can go anywhere is look at week 1 on both these teams. They just got beat up. The quarterbacks were rough. Everything was rough. Everything's volatile. Like, volatile in a good way and in a bad way. Hard to predict. But really, when you're looking at Bryce Young, this could be his get-right game. When you're looking at Tua, down a wide receiver with Tyreek Hill, but still fast offense with speed all over the field, faster paced. They got running backs, Devin Achane, Ollie Gordon. That fits well against the Panthers. This is a matchup here that when I look at it, when I think about this, I think we're going to get movement in an odd way. I think that's the best way to say it. I think something weird's going to happen in this game that's unpredictable with one of these players or with the game flow and game script. It's just a prediction that's vast, but that's what we've been seeing from both teams coming up to this moment. And I get it, it's not nailed down, but something weird's going to happen in this game. All in all, when I'm talking about Rico Dowdle, I think we're looking at a good running back here and a good situation for a backup to get you to the fairway, and we could get to more if things smash in the passing game. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.